what I did, I looked at what I did last year and then made some changes based on where I want to go this year.
Okay, is this to say that you really cannot sit down in a day or in a minute to plan your finances?
Well, there are parts of it that I need certain information to, continue with. So with that part, but in terms of the goal setting, everything is intact. Apart from the goal setting, you have to decide how you do what you do. So that's the part that I'm still waiting for some information.
Okay, Mr. Ning, have you planned yours already?
Yes, I did. And for married couples, it's effective when you involve your partner.
Okay.
And so my wife and I, on 2nd of January, on the holiday, after we had chilled and all that, we had to sit down, come back to earth, and then put one or two things together to ensure that our year becomes a success.
Okay.
And so,
does it start with you? Does it start with you disclosing how much you earn in all areas of your life?
Okay, so for us, it started with reviewing what we said we were going to do last year, what we were able to achieve, what we were not able to achieve, and that serves as the basis. It starts at a starting point, and then you work towards what you want to achieve this year.
Okay.
Yes, please. So that's where we started from.
Okay. Look at a quick, curious question. Can you plan money that you don't earn?
I think that you can plan for money. You should plan for money you earn, because sometimes people plan with money they don't earn, and when it doesn't come, then they find themselves wanting.
Okay.
It's not a bad thing to desire that, I earn 5,000, I want to earn 10,000, but plan with what you have.
Okay.
Not what you don't have.
Okay. Where, Ms. Ainin, where what you have means what? Your income, your gifts, is it what you earn is which one?
Okay, so you should know exactly what comes in. You should know your inflows. If you are a salaried worker and you have monthly income, you should know how much comes in. If you have any side hustle, you should know exactly how much comes in. If you have some investment elsewhere and it's bringing you some returns, you should know how much is coming. If you have some stocks and they pay you dividend, so in summary, it's all your inflows. Okay, everything that comes in, income, side hustle, side businesses, that forms what comes in. You should know, and that is what you should plan with. You plan with what you have or what you know will come in, and not what you anticipate. Other than that, you'll be disappointed.
Okay. Listening to you, I get the impression that you're somebody you've been planning your finances, even before this year. This tells me that last year you planned it. If you start out this year, whatever you planned last year, if you didn't exhaust it, if you didn't go by that plan, are you supposed to transfer it to this year? What do you do with what happened last year?
Well, I think it's dependent on whether that goal is still relevant to you. And so if it's still relevant, you weren't able to achieve it last year, why not? You can achieve it this year. And remember that some of the goals that you work towards this year are not necessarily going to be achieved this year, but for the future. So it could be for the next 5 years, for the next 10 years, but you have to take steps this year. So there's a smaller goal this year to achieve that bigger goal in whatever number of years. So if you haven't achieved something, definitely, if it's still relevant, you can roll it over into the next.
Okay. Ms. Ainin, so you started with your wife.
Yes.
What is the most realistic financial plan? Weekly, monthly, or yearly? I ask this because it's the beginning of the year and you hear that part of your financial resolutions do this. Which is the most realistic one? Year. Years of practice.
Okay. Different. Okay. Everybody's income comes in a certain way. Some take monthly, some take weekly, and some are such that you get me. And so it should not be cast in stone. Okay. It should be tailor-made depending on how your income comes in. And so if you're monthly worker,
only one significant best way. You can win up to 16.5 million Ghana cedis in the Betway at Nakesia Jackpot. And your jackpot will responsibly, but for persons under the age of 18. This advert has been approved by the Commission of Ghana.
And how you can said, I'm not done. I still need some other things. Stay with me, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back.
Sure.
Dummy dribbles to the right. He's got an opportunity on the edge of the penalty box. He's gone past the defense. This must surely be it. It's a goal!
With only 150 pesos, you can win up to 16.5 million Ghana cedis in the Betway Atina Ketia jackpot. Bet responsibly, not for persons under the age of 18. This advert has been approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana.
Sex is not a taboo. It's an experience. Let's teach you how to make it unforgettable. We'll share our sexual experiences and advice on how you can improve your reproductive health. Watch live demonstrations and discussions on sexual health, sexual relationships, and sexuality. Make your late nights better. Join KTG on Steamy Nights each Thursday at 10 p.m. on MX24 TV.
Steamy Nights is brought to you by Comet Properties, Beautiful Beneath, and Melco.
Welcome back to the AM Club, and if you just joined us, we're live on MSN4 television and we're discussing financial goal, obviously because it's the start of the year. And the segment is called Lifestyle Daily, and your favorite Mr. Nembo just joined us in the conversation. We started a conversation with Mimi Anani Apia. You know her already. She's not new to the AM Club. She's a financial planner, Access Pension Trust, and then also we have Mr. Emmanuel Kwate Inning, Business Development Manager. So we started because you were not here, and you're going to need this information. We started with how you should plan your finances. One thing that I know, you cannot plan with what you haven't started earning yet. You can have aspirations, like you can yearn for it, but if you don't have it, you don't have it. So you can't start planning with what you don't have.
I mean, you know, starting of the year, like I was saying, churches are very active, and we do the 30 days fasting and prayer and all that. So during that period, can't we forecast and say that this year I want to receive? I mean, I'm earning, let's say, 100,000 a year, 12 months, so that would be like what, 8,000 a month? Yeah. Roughly. So can't I project and say that, you know what, faith-wise, I want to be earning 150,000 a year. I can't plan for that extra 50,000. It has to come before I plan it. I plan on it. Yeah.
Yeah. So why I'm saying that you shouldn't plan for it now is that maybe you go and take maybe a certain loan expecting that amount, or go and promise people or be spending by heart, and then the money doesn't come.
Yeah, Russia, Ukraine can still come.
Yes, you know, there are a lot of uncertainty. So what happens? So as much as possible, you want to plan with what you have. However, be ambitious. Set goals, income goals, that this is what I want to do. And don't just, you know, pray about it. Faith without works is what dead, right? Yes. So you want to put some actions in place to be able to ensure that at least even if you don't meet that goal, you get closer to meeting that goal by the end of the year. Okay. But in the meantime, don't spend as if, you know, that miracle.
Yesterday, we started a conversation on career goals, and one of the top questions we've been trying to understand is your financial goal. Is it somewhat tied in your career goals as well? Yes. Do you think it would be? Okay.
Well, I think that every goal is tied to finances, honestly speaking. Okay, so if you are in a certain career and you are aspiring for a bigger office, what is it going to take? Perhaps you have to take a course, you have to do a course, upgrade yourself, and all this has financial implications or connotations, okay? And so it is just like two sides of the same coin, okay? So your career goals definitely has to tie in with your financial goals. So if, for instance, the course you have to take in order to get that big jump or big promotion is going to cost, say, 20,000, it simply means that you have to set financial goals to be able to have 20,000 in order to take the course to achieve that goal. You see?
Okay.
And it is in getting that promotion or that position that will also increase your income level for you to, you know, become financially independent along the line.
I'll stay with you. I'll stay with you. Is there a difference between financial goal and budgeting?
Okay, so budgeting is like the steps towards achieving the goal. The goal is very broad, but you need a budget to break it down, you know, so that you can achieve the goal.
Okay, okay. Now, last year, the variables or the pointers you needed to budget to actually tie into your financial goals, has it changed? Is it the same? Is there a standard? Every financial person that I talk to, have you added something, have you taken something else before we start taking the pointers one after the other? Is it?
Okay, so it will never be the same, okay? The variables are changing. A budget is made up of income and then expenditure, okay? As the year has increased, I know most firms will do some adjustments in income levels, okay? So definitely income will go to a certain point. We are in this country, we know the price of goods and services. And so definitely price of goods and services too will also go. And so you cannot use last year's estimations, you know, and projections as the same yardstick for this year.
Okay.
There will definitely be changes because the variables in the budget are changing constantly.
Okay, okay. Then you can start the ball rolling as to what the financial goal looks like on the paper.
Okay. So, as he said, financial goals are any goal or anything you want to acquire, achieve, do that has financial implications. So you want to buy a car, it's costing money. You want to get married, it's going to cost you money. You want to build a house, all those things cost you money. So you set a goal to say that, a smart goal, let me say, to say that I need 100,000 to do this by this time, you know, and that becomes your financial goal. How are you able to do that? I believe that certain goals requires a lot of reflection. A lot of the time we end up doing things because others, will make us feel some way or others want it for us. But we really need to sit down and think about what is important to me. What do I want my life to look like? And based on that reflection, you can put down a number of things that you want. Now, you have to remember that you can't do everything, right? Yeah. So you want to be able to focus on the most important part of that list, you know, and how much is it going to cost you? When are you going to be able to achieve those goals? And then you look at your budget. Now you have income coming in. What portion of your income can you allocate to be able to achieve that goal that you have set for yourself? So all these are part of the goal setting. And what strategy? So, for example, investment can be used as a strategy. If I'm in the pensions industry, allow me to use retirement. So I have a couple of years to retire. I want to retire as a rich auntie. How much is that going to cost me? Maybe 10 million Ghana cedis. Okay. How much can I save a month? Let's say 500 Ghana cedis. But there's a vehicle, which is investment, which would multiply my 500 Ghana cedis so that eventually when I retire, I would have that 100 or let's say 10 million I'm looking at. So these are some of the things that come up when you're setting goals.
Okay. Emmanuel?
I wanted to ask again, what is typically included in a financial goal?
Okay, so you can look at, for example, emergency funds. Okay, everybody needs an emergency fund, especially in these uncertain times. No one knew this Russia-Ukraine thing will come up, this debt restructuring. And for me in the financial sector, it got me asking questions. This means that if the financial sector is not doing well, my job is at risk. What can I do with my personal finances to make sure that I don't suffer should the unlikely events happen? So we all need to ask ourselves that question, and that brings about the need for emergency funds. I think since 2020, every year becomes a stronger message. You need an emergency fund.
That's true.
So basically, you're looking at 3 to 6 months of your living expenses. However, it depends on your job. If you are more likely to be fired You know, maybe 12 months will be better. And let's say it takes you a while to look for something. Maybe 12 months will be better. So it depends on your situation. If you're married and maybe your spouse is also in something that is bringing a lot of money, you may not need as much money as somebody who probably is the breadwinner and everything falls on that person. So an emergency fund is something that you definitely need. You definitely need a retirement fund. Every year we are celebrating our birthday. What does it mean? We are getting older. We may not be as strong as we are now. So definitely, how will we continue to live that comfortable life? You know, you are looking good now. We don't want to see you on the street begging just because you didn't plan for it. So retirement planning definitely should be captured in your goal setting. But as an individual, there are other things that you want.
Yeah.
You understand? And
like
those goals.
Like watching this morning.
Yeah, those goals may be peculiar to you.
Okay.
So those goals can also be captured in your financial, you know, goals. Whether this year you want to buy a car, you want to work on your project, go to school, like he said, whatever it is, you can add it to your goal setting.
Okay, Manuel.
May I add one more?
Please,
if
by
you
all
don't
means.
forget it. Mimi, is it wise? Is it wise as a financial person? You tell us. Is it wise as a young person, someone in corporate Ghana, to include in their financial goals things like, for instance, going to school, which you say it's very important. You know, buying a car and renting a house at the same time in a year.
It depends on whether it's doable, right? So part of setting smart goals is that it should be attainable.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's not like you are just, okay, so this year I haven't gone to medical school, but I want to be a doctor, you know. But that said, I think that being ambitious is also important. I think that's something I learned last year when I was setting a financial goal with my husband. I remember he said something, I'm like, nah, this goal is too big. But guess what? It came to pass.
Really?
Yeah, it did come to pass. So yes, it should be ambitious, but it should make sense, you know. If you want to build a house, you want to do this, you want to do that, when the money comes, like, which one exactly are you going to be doing? But that's where I say prioritizing is important. Even if you have all those goals, but you prioritize, at least you know that let me attack this one first. If there's extra, I can look at this other one. Because who knows? You may be a billionaire this year. Who knows?
Amen to that.
Okay, Emmanuel, you're married, and again, you're a financial person. So, the day you're going to set this goal with your wife, did you have your personal financial goal? Did you have your personal one?
Yes. Okay, so given my background, we believe that the two are one. Okay. I don't know the kind of marriage philosophy people are having.
Okay.
But with me, we believe we are one. We practice absolute disclosure.
Okay.
Okay, we take decisions together, and so it becomes very easy.
Okay.
And that is how we started, and that is how we are continuing. It has been very helpful.
Okay.
But it's not the same for every couple.
Okay, but financially, so that we don't even go into religion and faith, what people believe. But financially, if I came to you to seek consultancy and I am married, would you ever, is it financially prudent to have your personal goals, though they're available, you're not supposed to hide it, but your partner must, these are my personal financial goals, before you tie it into the family financial goal? Is this possible? Is it doable?
It's doable, but if you ask me, I feel that if you disclose your personal goals or share them with your partner actually helps you achieve them. Okay, and so that person serves as a check. Okay, you cannot be your own judge and jury. You get my point.
But it is okay to have your.
It's okay to have a personal
financial goal
on the side. Very okay.
I would like to just add and say this is assuming you did a good job of choosing the right partner.
Exactly.
Okay.
that is a good one. That is a good one.
Yeah, because I have had someone tell me about how the other spouse is just, the more she discloses to this person, the more he has plans for her money, and then you know. So I think that this situation is dependent on your marriage situation. Who are you married to? Is the person going to push you to achieve whatever goals you set for yourself as a family or not? Sometimes sometimes I feel like depending on the situation, keeping quiet and working towards the good of the family will be better than the person squandering your money and the whole family suffering as a result. So these things, it's on a case-by-case basis. But hopefully you marry the right person.
Okay. Emmanuel, what does it look like, a couple or a family financial goal? Does it capture the very minute of each and every person's need? I mean, down to a tampon and all of that?
Definitely not.
Not?
Definitely not.
Okay.
I mean, there are certain expenditures you just cannot budget and plan for. Okay, so you cannot plan for basic groceries, salt, and you to the point. Okay,
You cut some money.
Exactly. So you cut some money.
You chop.
Exactly. So you are working with a budget,
Okay.
and then you ensure that you go according to the budget, so that you can achieve the goal that you have set for yourselves as a family.
Okay.
Just to add, sometimes what families do is have like our money that works towards certain goals like that we have as a union, but I'm an individual, so there are certain things that I need. Of course, I won't come to you to ask for a tampon or something, so I can have my personal money. Maybe it could be 1,000 Ghana cedis that I use to do some of these personal things. And if I want to surprise you, I take money from that to do.
So on the list, is there a number, maybe number 4, my personal money, written on it?
You can have it in your budget.
It's written,
that
okay.
This is my personal money.
You got it? Do you understand my question?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not married yet.
Okay.
But not everybody runs a joint account, so it depends. Personally, I don't do joint accounts, and so we know what each other is bringing, and then we all contribute to it.
Why
So-
not?
That's
Let's
very
explore
interesting.
it.
Well,
That's very interesting.
Wait, let's see if it can be a debate. Do you have
No, I think it's healthy for the conversation because these are just two contracts
Yeah.
Yes.
and both are equally working.
Yes.
Okay, so in my
Yes.
case, everything is together. We run a joint account.
Okay.
It's absolute disclosure and it's working for us.
Beautiful.
In fact, if I had not done that, I don't know how I would have achieved what I achieved last year. Okay, because starting from a finance background, my wife does not have any finance background whatsoever.
Okay.
And so it's interesting how she has been able to adapt my mindset because I do absolute disclosure. We are one when it comes to everything.
Yeah, I like
you
it.
get my point. And when I'm trying to drift off from a planned activity, she reminds me and serves as a check.
Let's
And
stay
then-
with you. What are some of the things that can drift you off? Are these natural or these are your own?
Okay, so for one, in this part of the world, you know that the external family depends on every working person. You get me? Okay, and I have my external family. She has hers. You get? It can be a source of friction. You get my point? And so sometimes you lose track of what you want to achieve as a family, and you end up extending so much elsewhere. And she prompts you that you remember that we said we were going to do A, B, C, D, and then it keeps you in check, and then you are focused. You get my point? And so you end up not overdoing on that side because you have someone who is patroning you, who is serving as a check, and it's nice if you can work in that light.
Okay.
But as you said, it depends on the philosophy, of
Okay,
the
that
partners.
guides
But
it.
either can work perfectly, and I'm happy that we have those two different.
Okay, Mimi,
that is
shoot.
working.
Okay, so for me, I'm quite frugal, and my husband is the opposite. So from the beginning, I knew that if we add everything together, it's going to cause a lot of, why are you buying this shoe? I haven't bought a shoe in a while. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? So I knew that the joint thing wouldn't work for me because I would feel it in my chest. Why you are buying that shoe
All right.
when I am sacrificing? And so we have joint goals. We know we are working towards this. He knows that, okay, recently he saw my budget. He knows what money is going towards what. So it's not like we are not disclosing. There's still transparency. It's just different based on our different personalities.
And it works.
And the fact that, you want the marriage to last, right?
Yeah,
So
sure.
you don't just want to take what works for somebody when your situation is a bit different. So
So for finances, no matter what, once marriage comes in, there must be some transparency.
at some level, to some degree.
To some degree.
Definitely.
Who has the financial institution cut that degree down for us? Or we pick the one that works for us, the degree that works for us?
It depends.
Yes.
You will try and be transparent, and as he said, being transparent helps him, right? They are both each other's accountability partners, and that's healthy. But in a few cases, that transparency may not help. It may actually cause some abuse. So I guess it's based on your situation. You will try it a couple of times and see the kind of response you get, and then you know what to do.
Okay, if it was a girlfriend and boyfriend, would you attempt joint and see how the person can you attempt a dress rehearsal joint account
Before the marriage?
If you ask me, it will be a no-no.
Okay.
It will be a no-no, because for relationships, I mean, in as much as marriages can end, I mean, if you look at the rate at which relationships end, and I mean, it's
plus there's a tip measure on how the marriages can end. The courts can decide what goes to who, but relationships we cannot.
It's a bit tricky.
Okay.
I'm curious, with the joint accounts, are you both signatories to it?
Yes, so it depends. In my case, I can speak for myself. It's either to sign. Okay. So
It's what?
either to sign.
Any of you can
Any
sign.
of us
Okay.
can sign. Okay. So it depends. Like I said, it's not cast in stone. It depends on the person you are in the relationship or marriage with.
True.
And the trust levels. I mean, if you are one in everything, it can be a very good and exciting thing. But like she said, if you know your partner and you are not too sure,
Differences.
you have to use a bit of wisdom. Because before you realize, if you apply any to sign in such a relationship, you may end up crying and maybe perhaps on the street. You know.
I know someone who likes expensive shoes. Expensive shoes. I'm just imagining what it would be like in marriage. But is it not okay if the person is earning more than the other in the relationship? So then perhaps they can go off a little bit off the budget that you've, or the goals that you guys have set together, and then maybe get their expensive shoes?
Okay, so it is true. I mean, in times of stress, if couples are in financial stress, the little thing can cause mayhem and confusion, especially if you are withdrawing and you are not informing a partner. Okay, and so if it depends on the earning ability of both partners, like you have said. Sometimes one of the partners makes so much, it doesn't really matter how much is spent, and all. Even though they have their goals, you know, certain little expenditures such as shoes and all that does not really matter. But like our sister said earlier, if you plan well, you align your short-term and your long-term goals, and you get to that retired rich auntie status or level, you know, some of these things wouldn't matter whether your partner is buying big shoes or, because you have planned, you know, your lives, you have set money on the side in an investment elsewhere that has worked over time, and so it won't be a problem. Like she said, if you have some 10 million Ghana cedis in an account somewhere, this conversation is even a non-starter.
I'm telling you.
Let me just add, okay. So the purpose of budgeting is to assign every CD. Okay, so you sit down with your spouse and you assign every CD. If you know that shoe is your thing, why don't you have a budget for shoes so that you are not living beyond your means? Because if you've not budgeted for it and you are buying it, it means that maybe that's your rent, that's on your leg, you know, or your foot. So if you want shoes, why not put it in the budget if it makes sense? If it doesn't make sense, you have to hold on.
It's where I'm curious. So with this oneness you're talking about, especially with you and your wife, is it if one is earning more? I don't know if you're earning more than your wife, or your wife is earning more than you, but it's certainly somebody earns more than somebody. So the oneness, no, is it that you are agreeing that even though you earn more than I do, we're still sticking to
10%, 10%.
Okay, yes. So it's a very simple principle and it works. Okay, well, I don't know if we're going to go there, but then there is this 70-20-10 principle.
Okay.
If you use that, it works and everybody is happy. Okay. 10% is tithe. If you believe in tithing and you're a Christian or a Muslim, you can give it out if you don't believe in tithing. Okay, but we believe that you have to invest 20%, irrespective of your income level. And so I may be earning a 10K, she may be earning a 2K. I mean, percentage is percentage. Okay, so when we calculate 20% and we put it in our personal investments, it is secured. And so we know that we have secured our
So 20 of each or 20 of the total?
Okay, so 20 of mine, 20 of hers, we put it into an account, we pay our tithes. I mean, you have your 70% to live on, I have my 70% to live on. And that is where all other expenses comes in. And so your expensive shoe will have to come, you know.
From the 70 in our account.
Exactly. From my 70 and your 70, you get my point. Exactly. So you can put it together and we budget and plan what we use for food, what we use for clothing.
That is so cool.
We plan for fun and so on and so forth.
Okay. Let's also speak to the individuals, that young person watching us today, and very small amount of money, but still wants to have some financial goal. And also, if there are any comfortable facilities in this country that would allow that young person to even want to think about financial goals, maybe you can direct us to some of the facilities. But how should a young person, plan financially?
So for me, there's been a lot of emphasis on reducing expenses, but I mean, there's so much you can do. I think this is the year where we need to increase our income. We need to start thinking about how else can I increase this money as a young person. The great thing is the great thing about being single is all the time is yours. Hopefully, all the time is yours. So what can you do with that free time? You go home at 5 or 6. You can use 1 or 2 hours to make money. Your weekend is there. What can you do? What are you good at? What opportunities are around? What are people saying, asking you? Maybe you are into fashion, like both of you are. And people keep on asking you, where did you get this, earring? Where did you get? It's an opportunity. Sure. So we need to start thinking deep. What else can we do? And stop looking to our employers to increase my salary all the time, because they would increase it based on the numbers. If it's not making sense, they are not going to increase it. But does that mean you should limit your whole life to your salary? No. So what can you do? But once you make that money, okay, a lot of us and we say, okay, when I earn 5,000, when I earn 10,000, you see my shoe, like I'll now be rich. You start earning it, and within 3 months, it's like nothing.
Lifestyle inflation.
Lifestyle inflation. So
is that what it's called?
Yes.
Lifestyle inflation.
Yes. Irrespective of how much you earn, your lifestyle will adjust itself before you realize.
Exactly, because you stop drinking sachet water now. It's some way for you want to drink bottled water.
That's it.
You get it. Now it's too hot, you put on your AC.
That's right.
So you realize that their salary is now not enough. So what you want to do when you increase your income as much as possible is to maintain your lifestyle, so that increment, you use it to achieve your goals. That's what you want to do.
Okay.
So that is what we should be looking at this year.
Okay.
Emmanuel, do you want to? Yeah.
Yes. To add to that, you also have to track your expenditure. Okay. She has touched. There are 2 equations here. Okay. So it's the income, the expenses, and then what is left is the savings. Okay. Now, I am an advocate of you saving even before you spend, okay? Because if you decide that you want to spend and do those expenses and then save what little you have left, there will be nothing, trust me, there will be nothing to save, okay? So you have to pay yourself. My colleagues at the office will always say that you are the one who suffered, and so you have to pay yourself first, okay? I said 70-20-10 principle, but if you are young, you are not married, perhaps you are living with your parents, you've completed uni, you have just started working, nothing stops you from increasing it. You don't have to do 70-20-10. You can perhaps do 50-40-10, okay? Because you are not married, you don't have responsibility. At that point, you are primed and positioned to even save and invest more, because as you grow, the responsibilities come, and you will not be able to save, as much. And from history and the little research we have done, every expenditure can be cut down, to as high as 70%. But if you don't keep track of it, okay, for most of us, I'm sure last year, if you ask someone in a month, how much did you use as credit, core credit, how much did you use, it will be difficult for people to tell exactly how much. And so if you are overspending, how do you know? Because you are not tracking, okay? So apart from you getting additional income, starting a side hustle, it is also critical that you look at the expenses and then look for ways of reducing it, so that you can have some in savings and investing.
Quick question. Good morning, MS24. You guys are doing well, thank you. Please, is it advisable for a young teacher to take a loan and buy a car to start a business?
I think that teachers, I don't know, the public sector workers who get access to loans, what I've realized, they tie themselves into too much debt, and then they retire quite bad. So you are a teacher, I don't think you should take a loan to buy a car of course, I mean, it's subjective, right? Sometimes buying the car can save you a lot more money.
He actually said for business.
For business.
Car for business. Maybe an Uber or a taxi.
Okay, I mean, if you are sure that that business would help you pay, Uber is sort of, I mean, a bit more guaranteed. But normally, taking a loan to start a business is quite risky, and you want to use your own money. And then when you have proven your concept and it's scalable, then you can decide to take a loan for it. But Uber, I think it's quite less risky, let me put it that way. Of course, make sure you get a good car that consumes less, and then go to the Uber, try and figure out, you know, what it looks like. If it makes sense, you can go ahead to take a loan. But normally, I wouldn't advise taking a loan to start a business. Why don't you save up and use that savings to rather start the business?
Okay. I like the fact that he qualified it as young teacher, which means that he's young. He hasn't earned more, but he wants to start a different stream of, you know.
And what he said is important. When you're young, you think that when I get money, but as he said, when you get money, the responsibilities also increase. And you tend to find out that when you were younger, even with that smaller money, you could have probably done more. So save more. Even if you have to take a loan, it can be less, so that your savings will probably, at least it reduces risk. You know, taking on loan is risky because there's an obligation to pay. What if your income is cut off? How are you still going to pay? You know, so those are things that you need to think about.
Yes, to add on, I think that just as she has said, you cannot make money. You can only make money in your area of competence, okay? And so if you don't have any knowledge in car industry, you have not tried it, you don't have any family member who has been into it, you know, where you have hands-on practical experience, it can be a total waste of money, honestly speaking. Okay, so if it's not your area of competence, don't go and throw money in there. You have to actually understand the business before you put money in there. I have had similar questions, you know, from various engagements that I've done. And what I'm realizing is that in most cases, when they take up the loan, they don't really sit down to look at the numbers in terms of the potential cash inflows that this project is bringing me, vis-a-vis how much interest I'm paying on the loan, to see if it's tenable or it's practical, and that you can get your money, you know, within a certain space. Mind you, cars wear and tear. I'm not discouraging this business, but my point is that if it's not your area of competence, you better find knowledge and gather some capacity in that field. Before you
cars are a liability, I like to say. It's a liability, so you don't take care.
I mean, they start breaking down.
And sometimes people give it to other people to run, and then it ends up becoming something else. So you need to ask all these questions.
You can buy it today and you could get into an accident the same day. You know,
so
it's comprehensive. Okay, I know you're not magicians, but perhaps you can attempt to address this question for us, which I think a lot of people will be excited to see if you can help us with it. How do you deal with working in a job that doesn't pay on time, but you have financial goals which need to be met at the end of the day? Would you advise that, let's say you're working for someone and for 4 or 5 months you've not been paid, but you're still going and showing up at work? Is it advisable to quit? Is it advisable to quit and you're not sure what you're going to do out there, but is it advisable to quit and then hope that something out there is waiting for you or is there for you, or you still continue showing up even when you're not being paid for, let's say, a period of 5 months?
Okay, so what I think, I think that you should work on getting another job. I mean, yes, you want to work for fulfillment and all that, but one of the reasons why we work is for money, to be able to meet our needs. But at least it comes every 5 months, right? So I think that while you are working towards another job, just stay in there, at least you get your 5 months, right? It's better than zero. Yeah, so I think you should still stay in there while you're actively looking for something that is more, you know, stable and consistent, because that is necessary. You need the inflow. So the inflow is like the blood for you to achieve whatever goals you set for yourself. So if it's not coming in, then it's going to be a problem. You are going to get into debt and all sorts of things, which is something that we want to avoid. So maybe you need to look for another opportunity.
Very well. Or you want to add something to that?
Okay, so to add to that, I would say that you would have to manage the situation. Okay, there are certain instances you don't have control over, especially when the salary is going to come and all that. That one you cannot have control over. But at least when it comes, what has come, at least that one you have control over. Okay, so it means that your expenditure you have to prioritize. Important things you can postpone. You know, there are certain expenditures, they are not immediate. Okay, you can push them and then pay maybe later. You get my point. So you have to look at your expenses, because that is the only thing that is coming in. Until you find another job to move, you are stuck in there. Okay, so you better manage it well, okay, by prioritizing the expenditure, doing what is really essential first, and then the ones you can pay maybe in a month, 2 times, okay, you push as a form of credit. You get my point, you know, so that you can manage until you get, because it's tough getting jobs out there.
Good question you asked. Okay, so maybe we're wrapping the conversation, and 2 questions have come, and they're a bit personal. So I don't know how they can find you. One person says that Axis Bank Fund has been sending them messages to start a fund, and yet he doesn't understand it clearly. So what, our time is up already, but if there's a number they can call or anything to inquire more. Okay. And Kobna, somebody also says that he trusts your submissions, and so you should recommend some place that they can start investments. Small, the person said small, he wrote 3. Small with comma at the top. Right. So maybe how they can reach you and how they can continue this conversation.
Okay.
Okay, so for me, you can reach me on 026 377 8274. 026 377 8274.
Okay.
Okay, and the reason why I won't advise right away is that every person is unique. Sometimes you need to listen, get a bit of background, you know, assess 1 or 2 things before you can advise or recommend. Okay. So I would also leave my number so that interested people can contact me, and this is my personal number.
Oh, wow.
So that we take up the conversation. Okay, so
you can worry when you're in bed, wife.
Yes, I was wondering. At some point, you need to get some small number, because yeah, it's not the financial goal, but wifey will be.
I know, right? Okay, so it's 04 57 84 702.
Okay. All right. Happy New Year, ladies and gentlemen. Mimi Anani Apia, financial planner, Access Pension Trust, and also Emmanuel Kwati, business development manager. Thank you so much.
Thank you too.
Oof. Okay, guys, that's it for Lifestyle Daily. Let's get ready for your favorite conversation. Some of the fashion trends that may have happened in the year 2022, and even to the latter parts when there was so much events. And guess who? Your favorite challenger. It's going to be nice, so stay.